Guys, how are you all? Namaste. I hope you're taking very good care of yourself. And today I have come with a new topic which is known as loopholes. What is loopholes? Because every other day, some or the other case appears in our newspapers wherein the person has taken advantages of the loopholes are in Indian taxation system. Yes, I'm going to tell you what is loopholes actually meant by, and I will also tell you what are the major loopholes in our Indian taxation system. Yes, I am going to discuss today about some defects, as you can say it, in our Indian taxation system for which we as taxpayers and also the government who collect the tax have to suffer. So, what is a loophole, first of all, right? A omission or an ambiguity in a legal document that allows the intent of the document to be evaded is a loophole, right? So, every law is made with a certain intent, and when that intent is refuted, that is known as loophole or the defect in the law made by the constitution or made by our parliament, right? Every law has an intent behind, but when that intent is refuted, it means the law is not foolproof. Loopholes come into being through the passage of statutes, the enactment of regulations, the drafting of contracts, or the decision of the courts. A loophole allows an individual or a group to use some gap in the restrictions or requirements of the law or contract for the personal advantage without technically breaking the law or contract. Are loopholes in law an escape for culprit? Recently, I would not quote about Indian tax, I'll quote about some other law because there are many laws in our country and other countries as well. Recently, Nagpur bench of Bombay High Court in a Satish versus State of Maharashtra said that groping a child's breast without skin to skin contact won't amount to molestation and it won't be termed as sexual assault under the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. So, though it's a very heinous crime to commit such a thing, but this would be excused in our law as it won't be covered in the definition of sexual offense, and hence the victim is buried, and hence the victim is freed. The victim is not punished. I would like to discuss now the loopholes of our Indian taxation laws in some or the other form. So, guys, be ready for that. I would like to quote certain examples before discussing the major 8 defects which I can list down from the trusted sites as to what are the major 8 defects in Indian taxation system. Before that, let me give you certain few examples as to what I am exactly talking about. Let's talk about section number 13A. Section number 13A gives exemption to the charitable trust to the political parties on its income from house property, income from other sources, capital gains and voluntary contributions received from any person. Okay, so how can the our taxation system exempt political parties from taxation when they make such huge major taxation profits? How can they exempt it? But it is one of the drawbacks of our Indian political system or our Indian taxation system. Number 2, section number 32nd. Section number 32nd of the Income Tax Act talks about providing depreciation on assets. For the purpose of calculating depreciation under Income Tax Act, a block of asset may be either classified as plant and machinery, as know-how, as goodwill, as patent, as fixed assets, anything land, Then building, land is a non-depreciable asset, of course. Leasehold, uh, plant and machinery, and many other items. Okay, so every type of an asset has a percentage specified to it by the act. Now, the department, or I would say Income Tax Act, is little doubtful about the treatment of depreciable assets. As we all know, the depreciable assets are short-term capital assets. But our Income Tax Act says that any asset which is put to use for more than 36 months or 24 months in the case of shares or debentures or specified things as the case may be, those assets are long-term capital assets. Okay. And on gain from long-term capital assets, you get an exemption under section 54A, 54E. Let me tell you, you can invest your capital gain in NHAI bonds or ERA bonds and can claim the capital gain exemption. But that gain, that exemption is only on long-term capital assets. Yes, you heard me right. Only on long-term capital assets, not short-term capital assets. But my plant and machinery, my furniture fixtures, my vehicles, everything is a depreciable asset and we don't get exemption on that. But by taking advantages of this lacuna, we classify these depreciable assets also as long-term capital assets and claim the exemption under section 54 on these long-term capital assets by investing in certain bonds within 3 years, within 2 years, before 2 years from the date of its transfer as the law says. Ideally, we should not be availing any exemption as these are not long-term capital assets. These are depreciable assets which are depreciated every year and therefore they are short-term capital assets. But by taking advantage of this major loophole, many companies do actually claim exemption on the major capital gains by investing them further in the profits. And no one knows about it. And even if they know about it, they are silent. So these are the major examples as to how our Indian taxation system is designed in a way wherein we can take advantage of the tax loopholes. Mind you, I am not appreciating or I am not propaganding the fact that we should indulge in tax evasion or tax erosion. This is highly illegal and it brings a major loss to the revenue of our country. But I would like my viewers to know and be educated about how and where these loopholes are. Because even my CA friends and even my colleagues at times, they do hear that there are many loopholes in our Indian taxation system. There are major tax lacunas. But exactly what are those? And we need examples of those. So I think my article or my video will give you a quick insight as to what all areas are there wherein these loopholes exist, and it will be really interesting to know about it. So please stay tuned and do watch my entire video. Thanks. So let's guys talk about 8 major defects in Indian taxation system. Number 1 defect is high rate and low yield of direct taxes. In India, the rate of direct tax is very high, but the contribution to the total tax revenue is very low. Number 2 defect is low contribution of Income Tax Act. Means as compared to other countries, the contribution of the Indian tax to the main revenue is quite less. I would say really less. Number 3 is double taxation of dividends. In India, due to double taxation of dividend, the rate of domestic saving and capital formation has failed to increase appreciably. Companies pay corporation and other taxes to the government. A portion of net profit after tax is usually distributed among shareholders in the form of dividend. A portion of such dividend income is again taxed away in the form of personal income tax. Consequently, those who pay income tax on dividend cannot save much, and the companies find it increasingly difficult to raise financial resources on a large scale. It is often alleged that one of the
cause of industrial stagnation in India has been the high rate of taxation and slow growth of corporate capital. Number 4 defect is absence of agricultural income tax. In India, there is no tax on agricultural income. Number 5th defect is importance of indirect taxes. In India, the importance of indirect taxes has increased over the years, which implies that the importance of direct taxes has diminished. Number 7th defect is widening the indirect tax of tax net. Over the years, the indirect tax net has been spread wide. Almost all the commodities that we buy bear high indirect taxes such as sales tax, excise duty, custom duty, octroi, cess, and so on and so forth. And the last but not the least effect is regressive nature. Moreover, indirect taxes have become more and more regressive over the years. Such taxes are usually imposed on the consumption goods. So guys, I hope my video has been useful. Thank you lots for active listening.